These 29 volumes are evidence in a lawsuit filed by Ukraine documenting how Russia violates the International Convention for the Suppression of the Financing of Terrorism, as well as the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination. These materials support cases filed by Ukraine at the International Court of Justice on Malaysian Airlines Flight 17, as well as attacks by pro-Russian militants against civilians in Volnovakha, Avdiivka, and Mariupol.
Now Russia has to justify itself and prove how it prevented the financing of terrorism by its officials.
For almost 2 years, Moscow tried to prove that the lawsuit filed by Kyiv was deficient, but in November 2019, the International Court of Justice confirmed its jurisdiction, which means it will consider the merits of the case. Ukraine achieved another legal victory against Russia over the naval clash in the Kerch Strait in November 2018. Last year, 3 Ukrainian vessels sailed toward the Kerch Strait, which together with the Azov Sea are recognized as territorial waters of both Ukraine and Russia and freely accessible for international navigation. But Russian forces opened fire on the Ukrainian boats. The International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea ruled that Russia had to return the vessels and release the sailors. The Kremlin delayed implementing this decision for several months.
With this incident, Russia effectively closed off the Sea of Azov. The fact that military ships cannot freely steer towards Ukrainian ports is certainly a violation of Ukrainian law.
Ukraine accuses Russia of violating the 1982 UN Convention for the Law of the Sea. Kyiv seeks compensation and official recognition that Russia violated the immunity of military vessels in international waters. Additionally, Ukraine has requested reparations for damages and Russia's unlawful activities. The Stockholm Arbitration Tribunal ruled in favor of Naftogaz in all contentious contracts with Gazprom. This means Russia must pay compensation to Ukraine for overpayments on gas imports since 2014. Additionally, gas prices were matched to market prices, saving Naftogaz $1.8 billion. It also dismissed Gazprom's take-or-pay provision stipulating that Ukraine must pay for unused gas volumes between 2009 and 2017. Gazprom's demand that Ukraine pay for gas supplied to occupied Luhansk and Donetsk regions was also declared invalid. Kyiv has been waiting for compensation of nearly $3 billion for almost 2 years.
The ruling of the Stockholm arbitration is final and binding. It is written in the contract that Gazprom signed in the presence of Putin. Therefore, there is no particular need to discuss anything. Gazprom simply has to comply with the decision.
In 2019, all of Gazprom's appeals were rejected. In addition, on October 27th, the Amsterdam District Court froze Gazprom's shares in the Turkstream gas pipeline project. Ukrainian companies that lost property as a result of the annexation of Crimea demand that Russia pay compensation. The Permanent Court of Arbitration is considering claims amounting to billions of dollars. Investors have already won 4 out of 10 cases.
There's a trend this year. All arbitration courts have ruled in favor of Ukrainian companies, both at the intermediate and the highest level. For the first time, Russia is changing its strategy. Now it claims that it will take part in all disputes and challenge the rulings.
The Ukrainian Seaports Authority said it intends to file a $50 million lawsuit. Ukraine filed 5 lawsuits against Russia with the International Court of Human Rights over Russia's intervention in Crimea before the so-called referendum, as well as Moscow's de facto control over militants in the Donbass and large-scale human rights violations committed there. The first and only hearing in the Crimean case took place in 2019. A ruling on the eligibility of the complaint is expected in 2020. Reported by Yevhenia Burda for UATV.